A journey from death to life. There was once a man named Daniel. He had lived most of his life in darkness, making choices that seemed to bring him happiness but ultimately left him feeling empty. No matter how much he tried to fill the void in his heart, nothing worked. One day, he heard about Jesus, the one who could forgive sins and give a new life. Could this really be true? Could he truly leave behind his past and step into something new, buried with Christ? Read Romans 6:1-4. As Daniel listened, he learned that through Jesus' death, people could be forgiven. It wasn't just about saying sorry, it was about dying to the old self and stepping into something new. He imagined a river, deep and flowing. When someone was baptized, it was like being buried beneath those waters. When they rose again, they were no longer the same. They were made new. What does this mean about sin? Daniel asked. The answer was clear. Sin had no power over those who belonged to Christ. They had been washed clean, free to walk in a brand new way. Raised to life. Read Romans 6:5-11. Daniel continued his journey of faith, discovering that those who follow Jesus are called to live as he lived. But how can I be like Jesus? He wondered. I've done so many wrong things. The answer came from Scripture. Just as Jesus died and rose again, so must his followers. That meant letting go of sinful desires and choosing God's ways instead. Sin had once controlled him, but now Daniel saw that it was a defeated enemy. Jesus had already won the battle, and all Daniel had to do was trust and obey. Turning away from sin. Read Romans 6:12. Temptation was everywhere. Daniel felt it pulling at him, trying to drag him back to his old ways. Why is it so hard to resist? He asked. He realized that turning away from sin meant fully surrendering to God. He couldn't just avoid sin, he had to actively give himself to the one who saved him. The more he followed Jesus, the less power sin had over him. But what does it mean that I was dead before? Daniel asked his friend, an older believer. His friend explained, you were dead in your sins, separated from God. But now, through Jesus, you are alive. You are free. Serving sin or serving God? Read Romans 6:15. Daniel learned something important. Everyone follows something. You either follow sin, or you follow God. There's no middle choice. He thought about his past. Sin felt like heavy chains he couldn't escape. It was hard. But then he realized choosing God meant true freedom. What do I really want? He asked himself. The answer was clear. He wanted to follow Jesus.